So our third prize winner, you'll get $750, is open space. The second prize winner is advocate, and our first prize winner is Althea. Congratulations, Team Althea. Fabulous job.
We hear about it in the news all the time. There was a suicide in a nearby high school. These are just some of the suicides that have been headlined in the local news. These are teenagers, not more than 18 years of age, who decided that their life wasn't worth living. It devastates so many families around the nation, but the scariest thing is that it can happen to anyone. Even if adolescents don't feel suicidal, some of them struggle with their emotions because they don't know who to reach out to and how to express them in a healthy way. Suicides hit hard not only on the family of the child who dies, but on the community as a whole, and it leaves everyone shocked and wondering how things could have been different.
The fact is that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 10 to 24-year-olds in Washington State. The Seattle-Tacoma area especially has the second highest suicide attempt rate of the 33 metropolitan areas in the U.S. Being even more specific and looking just at King County, the suicide rate has increased by about 18% in the last decade. We interviewed 75 teenagers, and about 88% of them said that they've experienced stress, depression, and/or anxiety. About 31% of them said that they aren't aware of coping mechanisms for these emotions, and 52% of them said that they didn't have the crisis or hotline numbers handy in case of an emergency. 82% of respondents also said that they would prefer to chat instead of call when they're feeling down. 16% of people said that they didn't have someone to talk to when they aren't feeling their best, and a shocking 43% of teenagers said that they aren't comfortable talking to their parents about these emotions.
Thousands of teens struggle with stress, anxiety, and depression, and schools have counselors and administrators that are more than willing to help. So, why don't teens take advantage of their resources? One problem is the stigma associated with reaching out to counselors. Kids may be teased or made fun of for meeting with their school counselor. Another problem is that adolescents feel that their parents will reprimand them for slacking off and won't listen to their concerns. Finally, students don't want an app on their personal devices, as parents may be monitoring their child, thus compromising their confidentiality.
Teen mental health and suicide is a major issue, and it should be solved before we lose more lives of those we love. We are Althea, and we're trying to prevent teen suicides one call at a time.
Based on the need we identified in our customer validation, we created our app, Althea. Althea is a place where kids who are struggling with their emotions can seek help immediately. It coaches kids to stay in touch with their feelings and emotions and provides a confidential platform for them to talk about their stress. There are 5 key features of our app. Help, where some preset and customizable emergency contacts are stored. Chat, where the user talks to a chatbot that gives them suggestions based on their mood. Tips to de-stress, where the user will be led through some activities that help them calm down and learn relaxation techniques. Contacts, where they can connect with trusted people through calling or in-app messaging. Or finally, Learn, where the user can learn more about stress, depression, or anxiety.
The chatbot is one of the most important features of our app, and I would like to show you a demo of a user interacting with Althea.
Here's the demo of a user interacting with the chatbot. We use IBM Watson as a backend, which allows Althea to pick up on pre-fed keywords to classify the emotional state of the user, and then recommends the next best action. The goal of this feature is to fill the gap between the user and the right course of action, thus coaching the user.
We also asked counselors, parents, and medical professionals how they felt about our solution. Counselors said that on average, 30 to 40% of all meetings with students were to discuss stress or just to chat. We then talked to 11 physicians, and 100% of them said that they would recommend their patients to use our app if they were struggling with their mental health. After talking to 13 parents, we found that 85% of them said that they would be comfortable with their child using a digital platform to reach out to professionals.
As of 2020, the mental health industry is worth a whopping $17.8 billion. Our major competitors are TalkLife, 7 Cups, MoodPath, and Wobot. Although there are many apps out there that address the same problem space, our app has significant advantages over those currently available in the market. For example, our app is the only one specifically targeted towards teens, and it offers the most features for the least cost.
We will make our MVP free and allow users to upgrade to get certain premium features included in their download, like connecting with therapists. We priced these upgrades at $5 a month because the majority of the teens that we interviewed said that they would pay this price. Our streams of revenue will be paid user downloads and advertising. Another future revenue stream, however, is health insurance packages, because this app can help prevent future payments for patients' mental health. We will talk to insurance companies after the initial piloting phase and determine a selling point for these packages. Our R&D costs are approximately $150,000, administrative costs are approximately $5,000 a month, and advertising will cost about $600 per month. Here are our 3-year revenue, profit, and cost projections. For the first 3 years, we need about 8,000 upgrades to break even, and our lifetime value up to 5 years is about $1.2 million.
As we have noted, our product is a standalone app on users' devices, so it should provide a low-cost entry point. Based on the current value proposition, here is a marketing plan. 1. Collect real data by rolling out a pilot program to a candidate population. 2. Approach school districts to seek permission to allow the app to be on school laptops. 3. Advertise on social media and reach more people through the word of mouth. 4. Approach insurance companies to make this app part of their offerings. And finally, 5. Partner with foundations and organizations that can help us reach a larger audience.
We pitched our idea to the Director of Outreach, Equity, and Diversity at the North Shore School District, and they're willing to pilot our app with students. We also talked to Lake Washington School District, and they're also excited about our idea. We would pilot our app with about 150 to 200 students and test just the emergency contacts, tips to de-stress, and chatbot pages. Based on the analytics from the pilot, we can get more numbers about how many students actually called or texted the hotline numbers, or how many emailed their counselors. And this will give us data that the chatbot will base its suggestions off of. After this phase, we hope to refine our app so that it specifically caters to the needs of students.
We spoke to a lawyer to ensure that our app avoids any and all privacy and security issues for the pilot study. She advised us to build the terms and conditions in such a way that it is protecting health information, or PHI. There are basically 18 different ways that you can make a person identifiable on a digital platform. And if you have no way to find out who that person is, then there's no way that you're anti-HIPAA. So we plan on encrypting the user's information, and the user will not be asked to create an account with us. Additionally, she said that we should build our product so that our users will be 13 or older, so we don't have to deal with COPA. Lastly, she mentioned that we should have a solid terms and conditions and privacy policy so that if someone does commit suicide, even after having access to our app, neither the school district nor our company will face any liability issues.
Here are some milestones for the next 3 years. By the end of 2020, we hope to have conducted our pilot study with a few school districts. By 2021, we hope to have released this app on school laptops and have it available through school districts. By 2022, we hope to have made partnerships with foundations and organizations like NAMI and Mental Health America. By 2023, we would like to have integrated this app as part of health insurance packages.
My name is Rachel Kurapati, and I'm the CEO of Althea.
My name is Bhavana Hanavali, and I'm the COO of Althea.
My name is Bailey Desh, and I'm the VP of Communications.
My name is David Desh, and I'm Althea's Chief Research Officer.
We pitched our idea to the father of a suicide victim, and he told us that he wished a platform like Althea existed when his son was struggling with his mental health in high school. Mental health issues can tend to have disproportionate consequences if they're not addressed early on with the right guidance. From our initial analysis, based on historical data patterns, there is a clear gap in terms of connecting users to the right resources and actions. Any tool or app that bridges this gap is necessary, as it provides timely help, which can mean the difference between life or death for some people. Thank you for your time, and we'd love to hear any questions, comments, or concerns that you might have for us. We also have a fully functioning prototype of our app, and if you'd like to take a look at it, please let us know, and we'd be more than happy to show you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Team Althea. Back to the judges for a Q&A. Why don't we go ahead and start with Peter this time?
Yeah. First off, awesome job, and really love that you're diving into something that's a serious issue and only growing. I think it takes a lot of effort from everybody to really come up with creative solutions, and love what you've done. One thing that would be helpful for me to is really understand, on sort of the business model for the freemium versus paid. At sort of what level do you think about, somebody can use the app for free versus what do they get for being paid? And just understanding like how you're communicating that to the users. And, I think it's great that you have a free model where you can get a lot of expansion, but at one point are you actually forcing users to pay that drives the revenue?
Yeah. So addressing a couple of your points, let me just share that. So we hope to make our minimal viable product, right, with the 5 key features that we talked about. We hope to make that free so that, we don't want to deny someone access to our app because, they can't pay. And that would really not be one of our goals. So we're planning to make our MVP free and then expand as shown in the bubble. So we plan to integrate with other like Teen Link and also add more emotions to our app. We just started focusing on these because they're the most prevalent that we saw in our customer validation. But there's lots of things for our app, and we hope to, address all of those later on.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great. I'll jump in. So a couple great things. First of all, you guys had incredibly thorough customer and user validation, talking to so many students, parents, medical professionals, school district leadership. To me, the depth of research you've done in identifying and articulating the problem and coming up with a solution to that is really incredible. So kudos to all of you on the thoroughness there. I also really loved your demo. Like that was really helpful in understanding what could this product actually look like and how could it be useful to all the teams and students. So that was great. One of my questions on the financial side, and we don't have to get into it too much, but I wonder a little bit about some of the costs. It seems too good to be true to be profitable, so soon in a couple years. And so one thing, for further follow-up would be potentially talking to folks in the development space to understand what could be some of the real costs in developing this. Especially, you had such thoughtful information on, security and privacy. And so building a platform like this with some of those considerations in mind can be expensive. So overall, great job.
Yeah. So just to show you a quick breakdown of the cost that will go into this. So we've actually, after that loads, but we've actually talked to some of the developers on our end, right? We've talked to them, and they said that, right, for our pilot study, which is what we want to aspire for next. For our pilot study, it should cost about $3,000 to $4,000 to build the app. And the school districts are also saying that we need to talk to them about a lot of the privacy and security issues. So keeping all those considerations in mind, those are what that cost that we would need to build the app. And these are like a couple of our startup expenses, especially the legal aspect of it, including the privacy policy, terms and conditions. That's a very important part of our app, especially because, we could get sued if someone commits suicide, right? And so those are all like things that would go into our startup expenses, but here's just a quick breakdown.
Yes, but we will definitely take your feedback and do a little bit more research on that. So.
This is great. Thank you.
So I'll just add one more thing. So first off, fantastic job. I think the concept that you picked is very timely and also something that's very pertinent in the community. My question is, this is a sensitive issue. How do you drive user adoption and what makes you unique? Because there's already a set of resources, and it's not easy for someone who has mental health issues to be out there saying, "Hey, I'm willing to go and use this product." So how are you thinking about driving user adoption?
So the way that we were thinking about this, especially with the pilot study, is that anyone who's reaching out for help does not need to go beyond the resources that the school has to reach out for help. So that's why we talk to schools particularly. And so, yes, you make a very, very good point that people who are struggling with their mental health, they don't really want to reach out. So, of course, it is always up to the user, but we have a couple of different ideas on how to market this to get them onboarded. So a couple of things that we could do is get counselors. They hold town hall meetings. For example, in my school, they will sit down the entire grade every semester and they will tell you what applications are on your computer. So in this way, at least through the counselors, people are aware that there's an app like this on the computers, so that once they're comfortable, they can definitely reach out. Another thing is that, for example, we use Zello. Zello is a college and career app, and every month we do activities on the app to get people familiar with using it. So we could just use this model for Althea. We could have the counselors sit down with their students every month and get them to go through activities. So then they're at least, acknowledging that there's something like this. And even if they're not ready to accept that they have their issues, at least, they're comfortable with using it like this.
Thank you. Great answer.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Aditya Prasad, and I'm the CEO of Advocate. Let's get started. Advocate is a digital platform where users get rewarded for promoting the brands they love. At the same time, we provide our business partners with organic marketing and loyalty program, two essential aspects many small businesses struggle with, especially during this pandemic. Now, let me introduce you to the people who are going to make it all happen. Again, I'm Aditya Prasad, the CEO.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Father's Day weekend. I'm Swadesh Sisla, and I run sales.
Hi there, I'm Edward Zhao, and I'm the head of marketing.
I'm Sebastian Kumar, and I'm the head of finance.
Hey, I'm Jira Jayesh, and I'm the head of social media.
Hello, I'm Stephen He, and I'm the head of product.
Now, my teammate Swadesh is going to take a closer look at how one small business has reacted to the pandemic.
Thanks, Aditya. I'd like all of you to meet Dilip and Vidya. They co-own Madras Dosa Corner, an Indian restaurant in Issaquah. This pandemic has put them in a situation where, like most other small business owners, they've had to consider a lot of frightening possibilities. In the words of another local business owner, this is a very scary situation. We're not sure how we're going to be able to stay afloat. Madras Dosa Corner has seen a significant drop in revenues, and without the online presence of some of their larger competitors, the restaurant has taken a serious hit from this pandemic. It's clear that this is an issue many small businesses across the board are facing, and there's no easy solution for this. Now let's meet the other side of the pandemic. Shashank is a high school student at Eastlake and, like many others, normally enjoys going out to eat. However, for the past 2 months, Shashank has been limited to home cooking. When we told him he could earn free gift cards from his favorite boba places for making posts on social media, he was immediately sold. And he's not alone. We've encountered plenty of kids like Shashank who are equally excited about our model. So we have businesses that need traffic to survive this crisis, and users who are always keen to get some free food. Advocate solves both at the same time. It all starts with the user making an Instagram post about any business and tagging us. Then, Advocate rewards the user with our in-app currency, Joy. The user can then spend this Joy to get a free gift card or discount from one of our business partners. All a partner has to do to benefit from this is sign up and provide Advocate with an offer for a gift card or discount. It's that easy. Note that the businesses users promote do not necessarily have to be the same as the partners that they're getting rewards from. All from a post, the user gets exciting rewards for free, and the partner gets much needed sales thanks to Advocate. Here's a quick live demonstration from Head of Product, Stephen.
Here's an example of an Instagram post made by an Advocate user. An important thing to note is that the user tagged us at #AdvocateMoment, which allows us to award them points on our website. And here's our site, where the user is awarded with our in-app currency, Joy, which they can spend on offers from our partners. And this is the store page, where the user can select whichever offer they want to redeem using their Joy points.
Thanks, Steven. That's it, guys. The user selects the offer, and within 24 hours, they will receive an email looking like this one with their reward. As you can see on this graph here, there are two main clusters of competitors that Advocate faces. On the one hand, we have loyalty programs like 5 stars or points, which allow businesses to connect deeper with customers whom they've already acquired. On the other hand, we have review sites like Yelp, where users can hear what the community thinks about a certain business. Since Advocate provides both a loyalty aspect for businesses, as well as genuine social media-based marketing, Advocate brings the best of both worlds for local businesses. Here are another few ways in which Advocate uniquely serves our customers. The first part is organic advertising. You know, it's one thing to see a paid ad on Google, but it's so much more compelling to see a post from one of your friends or family about a restaurant they really enjoyed eating at. The second aspect of our competitive advantage is our insights. Advocate has unique interactions with our community, such as their posts and redemption patterns, which allow us to provide insights into their behavior that other kinds of platforms just don't really have access to. And finally, sales-based charging, which means that Advocate only charges a business every time they make a sale over our platform. You know, these are businesses with variable incomes, and especially in the midst of this pandemic, our system is much more accessible for local businesses. Here's a quick look at our user-based market size. Our total market demand is all of the social media users in the US, and through our sales channel, we can access Washington-based social media users. Our target market is the approximately 180,000 social media using teenagers on the East Side. On the other hand, we have businesses. Census data suggests around 8.6 million B2C small businesses in the US, and of those, we can soonest serve the B2C businesses in Washington state. Our target market is the 28,000 B2C small businesses in the Seattle metro area. One thing that's important to note is during this pandemic, one vertical we're going after is restaurants, which are a type of business that has been really hit hard by this pandemic. After the coronavirus subsides, we're planning on broadening our scope to other kinds of businesses as well.
So in the last 6 months, we've developed our online service in collaboration with over 100 active testers, keeping them engaged with regular updates about new product offers and features through our Instagram and email newsletters. Using our initial user base, we plan to exponentially grow the platform through the use of a two-way referral system, as well as to promote Advocate's unique structure by reaching out to online influencers and more standard news channels. And what kind of momentum have we started with our user base? Well, in the last month alone, we've grown by over 150 members that are actively posting, who have raised a collective $1,200 in Advocate Joy that they can potentially redeem. Of that, 41 gift cards have actually been redeemed and distributed to our users. Additionally, our Instagram network has grown to 600 followers from around Washington that come to check out our new offers every single day.
Thanks, Eddie. On the business side of things, I'd like to show you a flyer that we're presenting to potential business partners. What's extremely compelling about this is that we can promise that our partners are getting sales from our platform, which puts us head and shoulders above our competition. So far, we've been spending our time speaking with individual partners. Currently, we're working with Madras Dosa Corner, and we're in talks with multiple other restaurants, including Ahar, Mommy's Kitchen, and Can-Am Pizza. It's so clear that local businesses are so interested in what Advocate has to offer, and while we've had a lot of success with these individual partnership discussions, we know that the most scalable method of growth is through a channel model. To explain a little more on what channel model means, we're looking for partners who can give us access to a broader variety of customers, such as groups representing small businesses. One example of a potential partner is Seattle Good, which has a network of thousands of local businesses, and their leadership has already expressed interest in potentially partnering with us down the road. Some other local examples you may have heard of include the Pike Place Market Foundation and the Seattle Restaurant Alliance. These are the kinds of opportunities we're seeking to help us get to scale longer term. Now, I'll hand it off to Aditya to explain how that scalability works.
Thanks, Sudesh. As Advocate grows, we will eventually reach a size where the network effect will take over and your user base will begin to grow on its own. While finding this critical mass will require more time and testing, we have modeled our virtuous cycle based on those found by other platforms, such as Twitter. In essence, our attractiveness to users increases the number of users, increasing our value to businesses, allowing us to provide a more valuable product, increasing the attractiveness to users, and so on. Now, let's take a look at the 3 revenue streams we're going to have in the future. First, we're going to charge a commission on offers redeemed on our website. Secondly, we're going to run marketing campaigns for partnered businesses. Lastly, we're going to monetize the data we gain about our users. In the interest of time, I'm going to move on. We have more slides in our appendix about this if you want any more clarification. This year, we're going to automate orders and make it much easier for businesses to sign up. By June of next year, we're going to automate post rewards and release a mobile app, which will help as we try to expand to other states. Late next year, we're going to introduce marketing campaigns, and we're going to start monetizing data in 2022, allowing us to provide even more value to our business partners. Our rollout plan mirrors the product timeline. Some key takeaways are our current focus on Seattle and the East Side, and our expansion to other metros around the US as we grow.
Looking at financials, in late 2021, we expect 30,000 Advocate users and are only going to be charging commissions, leading to a revenue of about $120,000 per year. We'll spend most of this on building an app and expanding our services. In 2.5 years, and at 100,000 users, we will have a total revenue of around $450,000 per year coming from commissions and marketing campaigns. Important to note is that in these first 2 years through 2022, we expect to be in the red. Once we reach 1 million users, however, we plan to have begun monetizing user data, leading to a total revenue of $5.3 million. Costs will follow the same pattern as before, leaving $1.6 million profit at year end.
If you liked what you see today, make sure to register and claim your $5 sign-up bonus. From there, we'd be happy to work with you to get your favorite businesses on board so everybody wins. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Team Advocate. Now we'll turn it over to the judges for a 5-minute Q&A. Can we turn off the buzzer? Okay, can we have, it doesn't really matter which judge wants to start first. Lisa, would you like to go first?
Sure, happy to. Great job, you guys. I thought that was an awesome presentation. Your teamwork across the board was really fluid. It's clear that you practiced well together, so great job on that one. One thing I would note, your execution slide where you were talking about some of the business traction in the first month, like that's so incredible, and you kind of like blew straight past it. And to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. You're actually working with businesses and seeing some traction. So I would have loved to hear just a bit more about some stories there and what that means. One question I had for you on attribution is, how are you tracking the purchases? Because I wonder with some of these restaurants, they're probably thinking, okay, I want to come back to Advocate and say, I know that they helped me get this $20 purchase. How are you kind of doing that proof right now?
Yeah, so I can talk about that. Right now, with our current partner, Madras, what we've done with them is we've gotten a gift card solution set up on their site, and we get codes from that, which we can give to our users as rewards. And then when those users go and check out at their site, first we already have confirmation that they open their email and that they have the code, but then we can also check with Madras if the code was redeemed. So that's currently how we're doing it with them. We've offered other options to some of our other partners, but we haven't built anything yet. In the future, we have other solutions.
Got it. So you're assuming if I saw your post on Instagram, I would click the hashtag, then go to your site and sign up and make my order through your site. Is that the idea?
No, so the post is how, if a user makes a post, they get joy from that, which they can use on our site to buy a code, right? And then that code they can take to a restaurant site or however a restaurant wants to do it, and then redeem that code there.
Great.
Any more questions?
No, I think this is Patty. Hi. So first off, what an amazing job you guys have done. The presentation was so well put together. Simplicity of it, I can't tell you how it resonated well with me. My question is on your execution side, where you basically on year one, you say that you want to get to Seattle market, and you say 30,000 users. Do you mean that you want to get to like 30,000 users who basically will sign up for on Advocate and start promoting the merchants that you have? Is that the way you're thinking about it?
So they don't, again, as Sudesh said, they don't have to advocate the specific merchants that we have on our store. They can make a post about any small business or any business and get points from it, but they can only spend it on rewards of merchants from our store.
So is that network effect enough? I mean, how many businesses do you need to sign, and how many users do you need to sign to like make this business?
So again, the critical mass where the network effect takes over would require more time for us to figure out. Sebi has some information on how we did our modeling. If you want to talk about that, Sebi.
So for modeling for user growth, we just
go to the slide first, to one of the slides.
So we don't really have a slide specifically designed for this, but the idea is for user growth, we just followed some models for other companies similar to us, and that's where we got a number for 30,000, 100,000, and 1 million users.
Awesome, thank you.
Peter, questions from your end?
I think it was fantastic. As a marketer, I'd say really try and work through the acquisition costs, both on, the business side. I'd say I love the concept. I think there'll be challenges in, reaching these small businesses at scale can be tough. And then similar to the other comment, really focus on that user acquisition loop through the virality and the engagement models. So I would have, I think a good next step would be really test, when somebody shares what you would think of as your viral coefficient, how many people can you recruit through that? And then, testing how can you acquire small businesses efficiently, where it's not, door-to-door sales, but you can actually reach a significant number of people at scale in a cost-effective manner. But I think you guys did a fantastic job.
I have one more question. You guys were talking about how, your leading target market is students, kind of, sharing with their friends and getting signups. How are you thinking about what your next target market would be after that?
Sudesh, do you want to talk about that?
This sort of fits in with the rollout plan, so you could take it too.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait, did you say Eddie?
No. I was saying you should. Okay. I can. Go ahead.
Okay, I can talk about it. Can you go back to the market size slide? So again, as you said, our current target market is specifically around the East Side teenagers. We're focusing on teenagers because obviously they use social media more than a lot of other age segments. And we were currently planning on just going with first we would start East Side teenagers. If we expand to another city in Washington, like Vancouver, then we do teenagers there. Or if we went to another metro, as we talked about in the rollout plan, we do teenagers there. So I think we were mainly focusing on that. And after we built this platform for teenagers, I think it would really depend on what kind of businesses or what kind of partnerships we could get, because depending on those, we can really target another age group or another demographic. Like if we get a business which is more targeted like 25-year-olds or 35-year-olds, then we can do more advertising for them. But we didn't really have much specific thoughts on that right now.
Okay, great, thanks.
Hi everyone, we're Team Open Space and we make field booking simple. So who are we? So our team is made up of Aman Gupta, who's our CEO, Vivek Shah, that's me, I'm our CFO, Vernon Lumpkins, our CFO, Akhilesh Swami is our CPO, Manav Verma is our CMO, and Samir Lamba is our Director of Customer Relations. So during last year's summer, The captains for my school's ultimate frisbee team, one of whom is pictured on the screen, whose name is Ryan, organized summer practices for our team. And the locations of these practices were determined 30 minutes before the practice, simply by just showing up at a field to see if it was empty. Oftentimes, we'd be kicked off of the field by another team that had booked the field. There was no way for us to look up field availability on the internet, and the process to book a field was complex and inefficient.
So this is a quick research of our region and its market. So these are all the cities in Washington with a 40,000 plus population. It's a little confusing at first, but you can see that each city has two statistics, one of which is the population and the other is the field number. If you go to the next slide, I can explain it a bit more. So our target city is a tier 2 city. The population is above 40,000 and the field ranges from roughly 5 to 35 fields maximum. If you go back, you can see that there are two cities. Can we go back? Yeah, so we can see that there are two cities, which are Seattle and Vancouver, which have 150 plus fields. Obviously, having that many fields, they would already need to have a solid field booking system in place, which is automatic. But you can see that for most of the other ones where the bar is green, that they do not already have a solid field booking system, or they don't have one at all, and they're doing it manually. And the way one of our contacts described it was they would have the orders come in, and then they would have to put it together like a puzzle.
So, our ideal solution to this problem is to make a service that serves both the athletes and athletic directors, as well as the City Parks and Recreation Department. We'll do this through a website in which athletes can view a calendar and choose a time slot for a field, and then be directed to a booking form where they fill in their information and they automatically get that time. If that time slot's open, it will be automatically booked for them within 24 hours. For the Parks and Recreation side, they will have a city booking dashboard so they can view which fields are booked at which time, and they can also access all the information, such as insurance. This dashboard will help the cities manage their fields and allow them to verify the automated booking assignments, which will help us make the idea of field booking made simple. We want to become the next OpenTable, but for field booking. So our value proposition can be thought of in two ways. One side focuses on the athletes and athletic directors, or the users of the product, and the other focuses on the City Parks and Recreation, the people who are allowing use of the fields. So for this athletes, we offer a simple user interface through simplified navigation pages, as well as a straightforward booking form. We also offer an availability calendar where athletes can look at which fields are available at what time, and then they can use that calendar to make short-term bookings, since everybody knows which fields are open at which time. Earlier in the process, bookings within 48 hours were not possible, but now with this automated assignment, we can make bookings up to 1 hour in advance, therefore having a minimal return wait time, and you can always find a place to play. For City Parks and Recreation, we have a customized dashboard, which means they can easily manage and approve bookings, they can view all the information, and they can see booking trends to figure out if they should increase pricing or decrease pricing at certain seasons. We also offer booking verification, which means we verify all the information such as insurance card and make sure the payment has gone through, or at least the deposit of the payment has been processed, to make sure that they're not getting any false bookings. This leads to better usage of fields and the idea of always finding a place to play, and better usage of fields combined to form the idea of field booking made simple.
So for customer validation, we talked to 100 plus student athletes, 110 plus, 7 athletic directors, and 10 coaches. And we interviewed them about our product, and their response was that they'd be overwhelmingly interested in our product. So about 87% of student athletes are interested in our availability calendar, 90% of them are interested in our service for booking fields efficiently, and about 2/3 of them that currently book fields do not believe that their current system is efficient. And we found similar results for the athletic directors. A large majority of them are interested in our availability calendar, and they believe that their current booking process is cumbersome, as it takes 1 to 2 months to get fields back at the least, and the process is not transparent. For the City Parks and Recreation departments, we talked to the head of Redmond Parks and Recreation about our product, and he expressed interest in it. We've also contacted Bellevue, Issaquah, Kirkland, and Snoqualmie Parks and Recreation departments, but we haven't been able to set up follow-up meetings yet because of the current situation with coronavirus. Some of the insights that we've learned is that these City Parks and Recreation departments are concerned about the security of their users, and they all have different methods of determining priority for who gets the fields. And the availability calendar is also something that's unique to our business.
So we did an evaluation of our competition, and some outstanders are CivicRect, ActiveNet, and PitchBooking. PitchBooking is a company based in the UK. So then we looked at some commonalities between all of their companies. Sorry, tab's blocking. And so we looked at what parts we could possibly integrate to our site and what parts make them strong. So a free trial at the beginning allowed the government to see if the product was right for them and see if it was actually useful and if it benefited them to use it. And then an intuitive system made it easy for both the user and the government to interface with one another. Finally, a public view and a liability agreement made sure that both the government and the booking company themselves would not be sued if there was a problem with booking the field or if the field was damaged. And a public view, we can see that both CivicRect and PitchBooking, who are large companies, it allowed them to benefit the public, and so then usage of the field went up, which the government's also claimed.
So our go-to-market strategy consists of two key metrics: the amount of cities and towns onboarded onto our product, and the utilization rate, which just means the amount of bookings or the percentage of bookings being processed through OpenSpace. So in phase 1, which will last 1 year from when we get our first customer, we are targeting the King County area. There are 39 cities and towns throughout King County, and we set a goal of 10 cities acquired onto our product. We start at a utilization rate of 5 to 10%, and each city has an average of 1,000 field bookings per month, which would mean in between 50 to 100 field bookings would be processed through us. We would start with Redmond, as we've already started to build our conversations with them, and they have expressed interest in the availability calendar and other aspects of our product. In phase 2, we're going to start to move outside of Washington and target the top 10 metropolitan areas in the United States. We would hire a sales and marketing team with 4 sales reps to start with, each with about taking on about 50 cities for a year. And then we'll increase our utilization rate to 20% inside of King County and start to target other counties inside of Washington. In phase 3, we would target the 50 largest metropolitan areas in the United States by expanding our sales and marketing team even more, to have 20 sales reps plus a system of managers and just a system of organization for them. And then we'll increase utilization rate to 75% inside of King County, and in all other counties and metropolitan areas, we would start at 25% utilization.
So here are some assumptions that we made about our pricing and our revenue streams. I'm sorry about the lighting. So there was no initial setup fee. Either we integrate the software directly into the government's website, or we will have our own website, which we have found a domain for, which is $50 a month, and there's a very low transaction fee. Our revenue would be a monthly fee from each government for $250 a month, and a transactional fee is a percentage of 2%, which is from an average field booking of $125. Our costs are from the sales representative costs. As Aman said, our expansion will be to first the top 10 metropolitan areas in the US. And so we want to try and hire a sales representative in each of those places. We look it up, and $40,000 is roughly what each representative is paid here in Washington. The reason the developmental costs are so low is because the multiple members of our group currently are developing the website ourselves, and when the need arises, such as in phase 2 or phase 3, when we might want to design an app, we'll be getting more money out to developers. So here are the per city economics. We just wanted to give a quick rundown of how our costs and revenue would work. We've seen that there's an average of 10 fields per city. And if you take each day, there are a few slots, and there are roughly 100 booking slots in a month for each of those fields. So 1,000 booking slots total for a city in a month. Then with a 25 utilization rate, which is how often someone makes a booking through OpenSpace for a field on the government rather than through the government's website, at a 2% transactional cost, and then adding together the monthly fee and the dollars per field booking, you can see our revenue and our sales costs at the bottom based off the cities.
So here we would never able to finish the website as we ran into some bugs, but here is a quick mock-up of what it would look like for the individual athletes. You could go to the calendar page and you could see the different availability. So we're going to book the Marymore Park Field 2 slot on July 18th. We go there and it autofills the field information, and you can book your field. You pay and you would get a 24-hour confirmation, and then you would get a confirmation email. And if we go back to the homepage or the calendar page, you would see that the July 18th slot is now gone.
And then for the government dashboard, They would log in with credentials that we provide them once they get onboarded for our service. On their dashboard, they can see pending bookings and all the weekly bookings that have gone through their system so far. And in these pending bookings, they can approve or reject them. The city Parks and Recreation departments, they can also see their approved bookings per field. So, for example, for Redmond, they can see their bookings for Marymore, Perigo Park, and Grassland Park. We also offer booking trends, which shows the amount of bookings for different amounts of for different months if the City Parks and Recreation departments want to offer varied pricing to increase their revenue. So in terms of product expansion, some possible areas are private bookings and rentals, moving to other properties such as picnic tables, and offering instant gratification. So private bookings are a really big market that's a logical next step for us. And instant gratification is something we're working towards as we build up more trust with City Parks and Recreation departments. So to summarize, our value proposition is always find. Sorry?
You're at time. You guys need to wrap up.
Okay. So just to summarize, our value proposition is always find a place to play, combined with more bookings, more revenue equals field bookings made simple. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Team Open Space. Q&A as usual. Let's go ahead and start with Patty this time.
So what is your monetization model? Can you clarify a little bit more on how you're thinking about?
Okay, so pretty much when we sell to a government, our initial setup, my camera is horrible, I'm just gonna turn it off. Our initial setup is that each month the government would pay us $250 for the public view calendar and being able to see the availability of fields, which is quite beneficial to the public because what they've had to used to do is they would have to email or call the athletic director in the government and see which fields are available. Then after that, we want to try and integrate the actual booking system, which would allow for automatic bookings instantly for small individual bookings compared to the longer seasonal bookings for teams and large athletic clubs. And so pretty much the way it works is whenever someone makes a booking, we get 2% of the purchase that they make on the field. So there are different attributes of the field. You can get lighting or anything like that. But we get 2% of however much the government pays them because we allowed the government to get that field booking. So are you familiar with OpenTable?
Yep.
Yeah, so our business model is quite similar to them. They get a certain amount from the restaurant and then they also get a bit of the order.
Sure. And how do you check for the insurance liability that you talked about?
Aman, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So to check for insurance liability, they would upload a picture of the insurance code just like you would for a bunch of different websites. Like sometimes I know if you're making an online doctor's appointment like you would during the pandemic, you would upload your insurance code to front and back, and that can be processed through. We still have to do a bit more research into how we'll process it, but that would be first given to the City Parks and Recreation like it has been with the previous system. And now if we find a way to process it online, we can validate that with just checking it against like possible insurance code numbers that are in a registered database.
Yeah, so that's another part of the developmental cost. We want to try and acquire a software that can identify the insurance cards for us.
Sure. Sorry. So I should have said up front, so thank you. First off, I think I would have thought this problem is solved, but it clearly hasn't. It's a really good problem to solve because especially in the pandemic, after the pandemic, I think now more and more fields need to be booked, and I think this is a great problem to solve. So nice work on this.
I totally agree. Park usage is definitely going to be at a premium once all of these restrictions relax. And so having some order to who can use the fields totally makes sense. So I had two questions. One, I loved kind of how you were talking to so many athletes about how they were interested in an app like this. But one thing I didn't hear is how much would they be willing to pay for an app like this? So many people would want features like this, but one thing I'd want to test with them is, are they really willing, to pay extra to have a platform? So getting some information on willingness to pay could be really interesting. And it kind of dovetails into my second question. You were saying the average field booking price is around $125. Help us understand kind of the before and after. So was it already $125 before and now you're making it more efficient with your app and then taking a percentage of that? Or was there no pricing before and now you're adding pricing on top of the field booking? That would be kind of important to describe.
Yeah, so I can answer both of those. So first of all, we aren't planning on charging the actual athlete or athletic director. We really want to go through the government because we talked to a few of them, and the athletes are not really willing to pay for a service like this. The point of the public view is that they can look at for free and low effort at which fields are available and when they can go. The government would be the one who's trying to get people onto the fields and get them to pay for the fields. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. And then I guess you're saying you don't want them to pay for the app, but then you also said you want the government to have people pay for the field. So there's a bit of a disconnect there for me.
Yeah,
I can try to touch on that. So essentially, the money that we're generating is coming through the government. So that's coming from like the $250 monthly fee. So the $125 per field booking, that was there even before our product gets integrated. So we're just taking a small percentage of that transaction fee, and that's going towards our revenue. So none of the actual money is coming from the athletes and the athletic directors. They don't need to pay to use the service. It's just a way for them. It benefits the government because it allows more bookings to be made, which means that there's more revenue for the governments.
Okay. And then my next question was also kind of a comment on the scope of the app. I think I heard you mention, picnic tables, lighting for the fields. And my only comment would be, part of an offering like this, you have to think about your scope and what can you charge people for versus what would be considered like, I pay taxes, I should be able to use the picnic tables, I should be able to turn on the lighting. So maybe kind of tighten that up a little bit in terms of what your core offerings would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my questions are, similar on the economics. One thing I would have loved to have seen is really quantify the pain on the city side. So when you get into, it's $100,000 cost to a city, I think you have to be really crisp on, what are you eliminating as a cost for the city? Why does this make sense? Versus people will just look at that as a line item and say, do we have $100,000 in pain that we want to solve through this app? Is it worth it for us? So I think just, quantifying every time somebody books a field, it costs the city X, and we're going to reduce that cost so it makes sense, I think would go a long way for me in just understanding that the economics will work out.